In this video, I'm going to talk about the Canon 4600, 2600, and 6600, which is the 24-inch, the 44-inch, and the 66-inch Aquos printers by Canon. I should say the new Aquos printers by Canon. This is the Canon 4600, and we decided to replace our Epson machines with these after we bought the Canon 2100, which we absolutely love. I'm going to show you the Canon 2100. This is the Canon 2100 right here. If this were the newer model, it would be the 2600, but it is not. It's the 2100. But the 2600 model is like this. It's 24-inch, and we've got two rolls right here, which we absolutely love. Over here, back to the Canon 4600. These are our 44-inch printers, and we have replaced our Epson 9570s with these, and we absolutely love them. This being our unboxing video, I've decided to forego the unboxing part because I think that's silly, so I've saved you 10 minutes of video watching me pull parts out of a box and assemble them. The Canon 4600, the inks go here, and these take 350 milliliters and 700 milliliter cartridges. I believe you can put smaller ones in them too, but I would not. The ink, one of the first things that we can say about the 4600s after running for several months now is the ink lasts a long, long time. The ink is a little bit more expensive than the Epson machines, but the usage that you get out of the inks, the longevity of the inks is remarkable. We've definitely noticed that the inks last a lot longer and they go a lot further than we're used to in the past. Here, if we open up the printer, one of the things that is notable about the new Canons, certainly something we like a lot, is previously where you're doing print to bleed, you have these little spots here where the printer absorbs ink. And rather than having I'm going to wipe that on my pants. Rather than having a little pad here that absorbs the inks, this just got this little funnel, this plastic funnel here where the ink goes into. If you want to clean these, you can clean them with a damp cloth, and you're not stuck with the pad. And this is really an advantage because the pads, and the same thing with the old Canons and with the Epsons, the pads collected ink and they were really hard to keep clean, and they were always getting ink on the back of the prints. And there were times that we had people reject prints because there was ink on the back, and even though that's the back side of the print and it shouldn't be seen, it doesn't look professional, and this avoids that problem. So cleaning these is a lot easier than before, and not getting ink on the back of your prints is a lot easier than before, and so we like that. Here we've got the top roll, and these machines come with two rolls. So you've got the top roll right here and the bottom roll right there. You can use the bottom roll as a take-up reel, or you can use it as a second roll, and you can have two rolls loaded at the same time. This has dramatically increased our productivity because we have two of these, so we've got two rolls on this machine and two rolls on this machine. So at any given time, we can have 4 different kinds of paper loaded, and as orders come in from different clients, we can be printing on 4 different kinds of paper without changing anything. Another thing that's very notable here, as with the 2100, one thing that's really nice about these machines is not only can you have 2 rolls, but you can have 2 rolls and a sheet. And if you want to load a sheet of paper, you can notice here that what it's going to do is it's going to back out this roll, but it's not going to remove it. So when you load a sheet of paper, you don't have to remove the rolls. All you have to do is load the sheet. And when you're done loading the sheet, you can just continue printing on the rolls, and it rolls the paper back into place for you. To load a sheet of paper, you do this. Line it up with the red lines, put it in there, and put in the sheet.
So how small of a sheet can you use in there?
We can use 8x10 sheets, which is really nice because on the Epson 9570 or 7570, we had a hard time with anything less than an 11 by 14 sheet. You still have to load them one at a time. It's not that convenient. They're not meant to be sheet-fed printers, but we all have sheet cutaways at the end of our rolls and want to make use of those. The sheets are really good for doing final proofs for clients when we do scanning, because we can do final proofs on a final paper without loading an entire roll of paper. Here, when you load a roll of paper, you select the type of paper that's going in. You notice that I've got Moab and Trotter Bright White on here, and that is because you can load what is called AMX files from paper manufacturers, and that tells the machine exactly what the paper is like, how much it weighs, how much is on a roll, etc. And then the machine can keep track of how much paper is left on the roll. To be really, really honest, even using AMX files that have the exact weight of the paper, we found that the accuracy of knowing exactly how much is on a roll is a little bit iffy. We have one machine set to tell us how much is left, and we have one machine here that just ignores that, and we haven't decided which one we like yet. But we will say that regardless, when it gets towards the end of a roll and it's getting close, the Canon does a pretty good guesstimate about that. So using the machines is a lot easier because it has two rolls. The ink lasts a lot longer than what we're used to in the Epsons. They clean themselves a lot less than we're used to with the Epsons, and they're generally a lot easier to use. Less paper. We don't have paper skews anymore. We don't have paper meandering. We don't have the head bumps that we had before, and so we're saving a lot of media. We're not wasting media with head strikes, and we're not throwing away paper like we used to.
How much ink is left in a cartridge when it's spent?
One of the first things I do is always when a cartridge is done on a new printer, I start cutting them open to see how much ink is left. And we've cut open a few of the cartridges here for the Canons, and we have found that there's just absolutely nothing left. A couple of drops. Really, really just a couple of drops. And one of the things that's notable about the ink cartridges on the Canons, one of the things that you will note when opening up one of these cartridges is that the spout for the ink is facing down. On the Epson machines, you've got the spout here, and the ink has to travel up inside that bag that's in there in order to get here. And what happens is you've always got ink left in the corner. Sometimes a lot of ink, although they've gotten better about it. But in the Canons, they're facing down, and they are designed really to take every last drop of ink. The inks, what you do is you open this up right here, and you click on this, and pull out the old one, and you put in the new one. Makes it really easy. And you put it back in. One thing that's interesting to note is that on the Canons, when you run out of an ink and you see a notification on the printer that you are completely out of ink, you can change the ink in the middle of a print job while it's still running. It will allow you to keep doing that while it's running, whereas previously with other printers we've used, you had to pause the print job, change the ink, continue the print job. Whereas with these, you can actually hot swap these ink cartridges with a job running. The new Canons, the 2600, the 4600, and the 6600 use a new Canon ink that has been formulated for better longevity, meaning it's more archival, although the meaning it's more archival, but it is also more scratch resistant. And I will say that our staff have noticed, particularly with rag papers that can scratch easily, that these new inks definitely help so that the prints don't scratch as easily, particularly when you're working with large swaths of a single color. It's very, very easy to get a minor scratch on a print, and now we're noticing that we're scratching our prints less, and that's saving us paper. So not only are we saving paper by the machines not having head strikes and not causing us issues, but we're saving paper because we're not scratching the prints as much in the finishing process once they're done. So there is that. That, in a nutshell, is about all I've got for the Epson 4600s. Like I said, I've saved you a lot of time by not unboxing these. These have been great workhorses for us. The color on them is very good. One of the first things we did when we went from Epson to Canon, since we're completely changing out our printers and going to a new company, is we took prints from regular customers and we would print them on the Epson 9570s and then print them on here to make sure that we're getting really, really good color matches. And I can say that even with very demanding colors, with orange and green, which are the colors that people are worried about when moving away from Epson because they have the orange and the green inks, that we're seeing very, very, very close color matches, and we're seeing a really good gamut on these machines. And we have done jobs where we've run some prints on these and some on the Epsons, and you just could not tell them apart, except for the fact that the prints on these scratch less easily. So there's that. Do we have anything else to say about these?
Did you use the that chroma optimizer?
Yes, these have a chroma. The Canon machines have a chroma optimizer on them for photo prints. Probably wouldn't want to use them on rag prints, but for photo prints. And one of the things that does is it helps alleviate bronzing. But it also provides a little bit more scratch resistance to the prints and a little more vibrancy to the prints when you're running photo prints. And you can turn the chroma optimizer on or off when you're making prints. Couple of funky little things we figured out with these, and it is that when you've got dual rolls here, sometimes the paper will come out and it'll curl and it'll want to get caught in here, or it'll want to rub up against this paper and you don't want it scratching the paper. And we have found a remarkable little hack, and people are probably going to laugh. Canada's probably going to laugh. But what we do is we just tape a couple pieces of cardboard here, and that alleviates the problem. Prints come out here, they slide across this, they go down. Sometimes we need it with curly paper, sometimes we don't, but we have these hanging on the side of the machines, and it's a silly little hack, but it works, and that works. One thing I do like about the Epson 9570s is there's a little divot right here where when you're working with your paper roll, there's a place to set the paper roll. Let me show you what I mean by that. Okay. And that's what I mean by that. Right here, there's this little tiny divot along the top of the machine, and and this is the Epson 9570, and it's handy. It's just really handy when you're taking rolls out and loading new paper. This little spot right here is actually kind of handy. And so, although we've not done it yet, what we are going to do is 3D print a little holder right here, just with this little divot, and we're probably just going to glue it right here on the top, so that when you take a roll out, let me show you what I mean. When you take a roll out and you're changing papers, that you've got a place for it right here. And I think we can achieve that by just 3D printing a little 1-inch high thing right there with a small divot in it, so that will sit right there. Minor thing, but I think that would be a great improvement, is to have something there right there, and also something that you could hang right here for when you're using two rolls, so that as the paper comes out of the top roll, it doesn't get caught in here. The baskets are better made than the Epsons for sure. These are robust, and these pull in and out, and they're actually functional and they don't fall apart. Seems like a small thing, but it is the small little details that matter. God is in the details. That, in a nutshell, is it. We've been running these for 3 months now. We've noticed that we're using far less ink. We've noticed that we're wasting far less paper. We've noticed that the color is excellent, and we've not had a single person ask us why the color has changed on their prints for return customers. And we've not had any problems hitting the colors that we need to hit when we're doing art reproduction. They've just been fantastic machines for us, and we hope to continue to use them. One thing we have noticed, which has been just amazing, is with the Epsons, whenever we were printing canvas, we had to account for the slippage in the canvas and adjust. So we had to use feed adjustment in order that the prints came out the right size. Oftentimes with canvas prints, and particularly then when they were longer than 30 inches, we would always lose about a quarter of an inch, sometimes even a half an inch, but usually about a quarter of an inch. It was just enough to drive you crazy, because when you go to stretch it, it wouldn't match the stretcher bars. When we first got these, I said one of the first things we're going to have to do is figure out how to get the feed adjustment rights on these so the canvas works. And lo and behold, canvas always comes out the right size, to the millimeter. We've never had a problem with that. So the size of the canvas is perfect. We've not had to deal with feed adjustment. We've not had to deal with canvas coming out short. And again, that's saving us media. We're not wasting media by printing out canvases that come out to be, a quarter of an inch or 3/8 of an inch short. We have to reprint them again with a new feed adjustment and hope that we get it right. That's been fantastic. The other thing that's noteworthy is that you really don't need, I really don't think that you need a warranty with these, an extended warranty, because the extended warranties that you have with Epsons are always to deal with the heads. You cannot change the head out yourself. It's a $2,000 part. The warranty is $1,500 a year with tax for us per machine. So to keep 2 of these running costs us $3,000 a year in warranty, when really what you're doing is ensuring that if a head goes out, that you're not stuck with the charge for a $2,000 head and installment. With Canons, and I've shown this in my previous video, the head is user removable. So there you can see, I can't open this while it's running, but there you can see, there's the head, and there's a little handle on the head there. The head disappeared. It'll come back again. There's a little blue handle on the head, and going fast, there it goes. There's your head. Okay. So when you go to replace the head, you can just pull, and there's a handle on it, you just pull the head out and put in a new head. Rather than spending $1,500 a year on, well, that includes tax, but rather than spending $1,500 a year on a warranty in case the head goes out, what Canon says is that the head is an expendable item and you have to buy it yourself. So when the head goes out, it's about $700 or $800 for a head. Honestly, you could go through 1 head a year on these machines and still be at half the cost of an Epson warranty in case the head goes out. And we know other people that have been using Canons for years, and they say, on average, they'll go out every 2 or 3 years. That's still far, far cheaper than paying for a warranty to have someone else come out, a technician come out and remove the head and put in a new one. And so there's that savings as well. All in all, we're finding that these are a huge gain for us. We've gained a lot of productivity. We're not wasting paper. We're not wasting ink. We're not wasting time babysitting the machines to see if there's been a paper skew or paper meandering or if the canvas is coming out short. And these have just made our lives a lot easier. And we are now a 100% Canon shop, and we're proud of it and very happy to be using these. I hope this has helped. I think that's probably all I have to say about these. I wanted to keep this video short and sweet and talk about the practicality of using machines and what we found. I think that's about it. If you're thinking about replacing a print machine or a printer and looking at the Canons, I would highly recommend them. We are very, very happy with what we've seen so far and look forward to continue using them in the future.